Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. It is very nice to have you here today. On the table in front of us today is the Prometheus Design Works Audax. This is an excellent OTF from the folks at Prometheus Design Works. And I just wanted to share it with you kind of briefly. It is aluminum with titanium parts. It is M390. It is very snappy. It has very little rock. It's got a little bit of tritium in the switch, which is nice. It glows a little bit. It's just a superb OTF. The M390 blade is traditional drop point. It's got a nice long flat. It's got a little bit of belly up front. One of the things I love most about this thing is it has a very traditional pocket clip for an OTF. No wavy stamped steel, no weird design. And so when it's in the pocket, not much knife sticking out. And most people aren't going to take one look and go, that's an out the front. They're just going to think you got a pocket knife. It's got a little spot for a lanyard on it. It's got some jimping here, as you can see. The scales themselves are sculpted, which is really nice. This is a really nice knife. Let's get some specs out of the way if you're interested in that sort of thing. You are looking at about 3.45 inches of cutting on 3.5 inches of M390. Overall length is 8.5. Grip area from behind that swell is really, it's a full 4 inches. So you got a lot of room here to move around. This little nub right here means that when you're holding onto it in a sort of like you've just fired it, or even if you come forward, your finger has something to run up against because of this choil, which is really nicely sculpted, by the way. So if you poke something, right, your hand's not going to automatically like slam forward onto the blade, which I think is a really nice feature. The action is very snappy. It's really good in that regard. The closed length on this guy is about 5 inches, at 5 inches. And of course, in the pocket, even with the activator, you're talking at about 1.25 inches at its absolute widest. So when this thing is riding in the pocket, there's plenty of room for other things, which is a really nice feature. Let's do some size comparisons, just so you know what we're talking about. Most of you know what a full-size griptilian is, and so as you can see, the Audax is just a little bit longer, but of course smaller in most other ways. Here it is against a Benchmade. We're just going to have a Benchmade day. There's a bug out. As you can see, it's considerably larger than the bug out. You get almost a 1/2 inch more cutting area, and of course M390, right? And for our big knife today, we're going to do the full-size Crooked River, which is, of course, just going to dwarf the Audax. If you're more familiar with autos, here it is against the Gen 2 LUDT, as you can see. Right. Really, all in all, this is, I only own 2 out the fronts. I own this and this, the Kershaw Livewire. For those of you watching this on TikTok, you've seen both of these a number of times. This knife appeals to me for a lot of reasons, not the least of which, and I'm just going to move this up here real quick. I love Prometheus Design Works and, of course, Terrain 365. I love the design aesthetic. Excuse my arm. I'll grab a couple of things here. First and foremost, this is the STS AT from Terrain 365, and you can absolutely see the design lineage, right? This is a PDW design, handled very similar to drop point. I love that. Of course, here's the ProTech Invictus, which is another Prometheus Design Works design, and then the Terrain 365 Invictus AT. I mean, I'm a knife collector, so cut me a little slack, but you gotta admit that looks pretty good. These are 4 of my all-time favorite knives. These are both in terravantium, which is a form of dendritic cobalt. They are completely rust and stain resistant and non-ferrous, so they're non-magnetic, which is very cool. This is standard 150, CPM 154. And here's the thing about Protex, CPM 154. Is it 150? Yeah, it is CPM 154. They do a great job. I do want to point out, well, just while we're here, there are a couple of slight aesthetic differences between those two blade shapes, but these really are fantastic knives. You pay for the privilege, particularly with the Terrain 365 stuff, but you should get one of these, or one of these. The STS AT is just an excellent knife, and having an auto and a folding version just makes me sort of stupid happy. Yeah. So that is the Prometheus Design Works, or PDW Audax. I love that logo on the pocket clip. This is an excellent knife. Just for whatever it's worth, these cost about $290, which is expensive, but not quite full-size Microtech expensive, so you're kind of in the middle somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if you're allowed to own one of these where you live. Here, where I live, I can own it, but technically I'm not supposed to carry it, so of course I never do. Right. Anyway, it's just a really nice knife. I'll put a link to both Prometheus Design Works and, of course, to Blade HQ, where I found one of these, in the description of the YouTube video. If you're watching this on TikTok, you'll have to go over there and take a look. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the PDW Audax. I have been your humble host, A Therapeutic Edge. Remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.